Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going deep on acres of diamonds. It's this lecture by Russell H. Conwell, and he gave it thousands of times.
Thousands.
Yeah, so it was clearly a hit. What we really want to get into today is, why did this message work for so long? And are those acres of diamonds actually out there waiting to be found?
Well, it's interesting. Conwell wasn't just some philosopher sitting in his study. This guy was a Civil War veteran, a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
And a preacher. I mean, you don't find that combination every day.
No, you don't. That's like 3 lifetimes worth of experience right there.
Yeah.
So it makes you think, how did all of that shape how he saw success?
Exactly. The war probably showed him what resilience really means firsthand. And then his legal background. Well, that probably taught him how to really go after opportunities strategically. And of course, as a preacher, he wanted to inspire people. That was kind of his job,
It's almost like all those pieces led him to this idea that success is within reach for everyone, no matter where you start. But he doesn't just tell you that. Right. He makes it real with these stories. Acres of Diamonds is jam-packed with them.
Oh, yeah. He was a master storyteller. Knew how to get a point across and make it stick.
Like that story about the guy who sells his ranch in California. Just before they strike gold, can you imagine finding out you missed out on millions?
Oof.
Makes you want to check your sofa cushions just in case.
Right. I think that story really plays on something we all feel, FOMO, that fear of missing out.
Totally.
But it's also a reminder that what we're looking for might be right under our noses. Sometimes we're so busy chasing the next big thing, we miss what's right here.
It's like that saying, the grass is always greener.
Right.
But then he tells this other story about the Pennsylvania farmer.
Oh, yeah.
Who wants to work in the oil industry. But nobody will hire him because he has no experience. So what does he do? Goes out and learns everything about oil.
He saw the potential. I mean, that story isn't just about learning a trade. It's about seeing where the world is going, which industries are about to take off, and then getting yourself ready to ride that wave. It's about being hungry for knowledge and skills that people are going to need. You could apply that today. Think about things like renewable energy or AI. How do you get in on the ground floor?
That's a great way to put it. It's not just waiting for opportunity. It's getting ready so you can grab it when it shows up.
Exactly.
But then there's that story about the professor who's literally sitting on a block of silver while he's selling his family's land.
Oh, the professor of mineralogy, so focused on rocks that he misses a fortune right in front of him.
Yeah. It's like a warning. You can be too focused on one thing and miss the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's like he was wearing diamond-colored glasses but still couldn't see the treasure. But I think Conwell's using these stories to say something bigger. He's not just talking about literal diamonds, is he? He's using diamonds as this metaphor for all the potential around us, hiding in plain sight sometimes. He's saying, quit chasing rainbows and start digging where you are. What's in your own acre of diamonds? What skills or knowledge or passions are you sleeping on? Those could be worth a fortune if you develop them.
That's such a good question for everyone listening.
Yeah.
I'm curious about his definition of success, though. It doesn't seem like it's just about money for him.
You're right. For Conwell, success was about using wealth to do good. Money was a tool. And the more you had, the more you could use it to help people.
Right. It's like saying, build yourself a great toolbox so you can build something even better for your community.
Exactly.
That makes sense coming from a preacher.
Yeah.
But wasn't that kind of radical in 1915, especially after the Gilded Age and all that excess?
Totally. He was going against the idea that being rich meant you were dishonest. Conwell believed that most wealthy people were honest, that they earned their money through hard work and doing business the right way. Did everyone believe him? Maybe not, but it was a fresh perspective. It made people question what they thought they knew about wealth.
So it's not enough just to find the diamonds, it's what you do with them.
Right, exactly. That's where action comes in. Conwell is all about action. He says knowing something is useless if you don't do anything with it. It's like a seed you never plant.
He tells that story about A.T. Stewart, the self-made millionaire who lost most of his first investment. But he learned this huge lesson: find out what people need and invest in that.
That's the key. And Stewart went on to build this massive department store empire because he focused on providing good quality things at prices people could afford.
He saw the demand.
He understood it, and he found a way to meet it.
Just like John Jacob Astor, he built his fortune on the fur trade.
Right.
Because he saw that demand growing.
Conwell believed that success wasn't about luck. It was about seeing a need and then figuring out how to fill it. And he challenged his listeners to think about their own demand. What are you good at? What lights you up? Where are those skills and passions needed in the world?
Now, here's where Conwell gets really interesting. Back in 1915, he was saying women could be millionaires.
I know, way ahead of his time.
Right.
He even pointed to women inventors specifically, like the woman who invented the jacquard loom. That thing revolutionized how we make textiles.
And the woman who made the printing press even better. That led to mass production of books and newspapers.
Remember, this was when women couldn't even vote in the U.S. Conwell was breaking down barriers. He was telling women they could be entrepreneurs and innovators.
It's like he was saying, hey, ladies, the world of opportunity is open to you, too.
Absolutely. And a lot of Conwell's examples are about Philadelphia. You know where he lived.
Right.
But I think his message is bigger than any one city.
You mean it's more about how you think than where you are?
Exactly. He used Philadelphia as an example, but he was really saying opportunity is everywhere if you're willing to see it. You got to shift your perspective. Start believing that possibilities are all around you, no matter where you are.
So it's not about moving to some booming city or waiting for a lucky break. It's about having that acres of diamonds mindset wherever you are. And I think the best example of that is Conwell's own story, how he started Temple University.
Oh, yeah. That's a real-life acres of diamonds story right there.
Didn't he start by just tutoring one student who couldn't afford school?
That's how it began. And then it just grew from there. More students came, teachers volunteered their time, and that one small act of kindness turned into a major university.
Amazing. Giving opportunities to thousands of people who might not have had them otherwise.
It's proof that you can take one little acre and turn it into something incredible. And it shows Conwell's beliefs in action. Meet a need. Start small, and don't give up. Now, I noticed he tells some stories about Abraham Lincoln, too. What do you make of that?
I think he really admired Lincoln. And I think he used those stories to show how important it is to be self-reliant, to work hard, and to stay focused. Like that story about Lincoln giving his full attention to every task, no matter how small.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you're running a country or running errands. That kind of focus is key.
Absolutely. And it goes back to finding opportunity in the everyday. Conwell said Lincoln was just old Abe to his neighbors, but he had this drive inside him that led him to greatness. It reminds us that greatness isn't always flashy. Sometimes it's about showing up every day and doing your best, even when nobody's watching.
Like a hidden diamond just waiting to be polished. So speaking of diamonds, what have we found in this deep dive so far? What stands out to you?
One thing that really struck me was how much Conwell believed in his city, Philadelphia. He was so passionate about it. He said there were tons of opportunities there, but people couldn't see them because they were too busy putting their own city down.
It's like saying you're standing on a gold mine, but all you can talk about is how much your feet hurt.
Right. Conwell really believed in positive thinking and civic pride. He saw so much potential in Philadelphia, but he knew that negativity could hold a city back. He even said, if Philadelphia wants to thrive, people need to start bragging about it.
Makes sense. If you don't believe in your own city, who will?
Right.
But I think what he's saying is bigger than just cities. It's about believing in where you are,
right?
Your neighborhood, your company,
yeah,
even your own abilities.
Absolutely. It's about being a champion for where you come from, focusing on the good stuff, not just the bad. Now, Conwell tells this really personal story from the Civil War about a young man named John Ring.
Oh, yeah, John Ring. He was too small to enlist.
Right.
But he really wanted to serve with Conwell. He basically volunteered to be Conwell's servant just so he could go to war.
And that ended up saving his life. Conwell tells this crazy story about a bridge that catches fire. And Ring is ordered to get to safety. But he runs through the flames anyway. To deliver a message, that's courage.
It's such a powerful story.
Yeah.
About loyalty and bravery. And I think it shows another big theme in the lecture, pushing past your limits.
Yes. Ring could have stayed behind, said, I'm too small, I can't do this. But he chose to face his fears. He did more than he thought he could. And not only did he survive, he was a hero.
Makes you think about all the times we hold ourselves back because we doubt ourselves. What if we were more like John Ring? What can we accomplish?
That's a great question. And speaking of pushing limits, Conwell talks about greatness, too. He says that real greatness often goes unnoticed, especially by the people closest to us.
Oh, yeah. We're always looking for greatness in far-off places or famous people. But we miss it in the people right in front of us.
He tells that funny story about going to interview President James Garfield. And this neighbor just takes him to the back door and yells, Jim! Jim!
Can you imagine a president just being Jim to his neighbor? But it makes you think. Greatness doesn't always come with a parade. It's often in the everyday lives of normal people.
And the people who do achieve great things, they're often humble, approachable. They don't need to brag. Think about old Abe Lincoln. or Jim Garfield.
It's like a reminder to appreciate the people around us, even the ones who seem ordinary. You never know, you might be surrounded by hidden greatness. Now, Conwell really believed that anyone could be successful if they had the right attitude and put in the work. But he didn't just talk about it, he lived it.
Absolutely. He didn't just preach it, he practiced it. He was always working, always finding ways to help people and make his community better.
It's crazy to think about giving the same lecture thousands of times. There must have been days he just didn't feel like it. But he kept going.
Dedication, right.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it for the money either. All the money he made from those lectures went to charity, like Temple University and other good causes.
His whole life really shows what he was talking about. Find opportunity, take action, and use your success to help others.
It's inspiring. He didn't just preach success, he was success. Now one of Conwell's big principles is knowing the demand. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, he uses A.T. Stewart as an example, the guy who lost most of his money in his first business. But he learned from it. He realized you have to invest in something people actually need.
Exactly. Conwell said you gotta understand what the market needs. Whether you're selling product or services, that's how you succeed. It's not just about a cool idea. It's about making sure people actually want it.
So you got to be strategic, do your research, figure out what problems people have, what they need, and then you provide the solution.
It's a classic principle. It works in any field, not just business. You want to make a real difference. You got to understand the demand, what skills are needed, where are those skills valuable.
It's like finding your niche, where your talents and your passions meet what the world needs. But it's not just about meeting the need, is it? Conwell also talks about innovation. And he challenges this idea that women weren't inventors.
No, right. He was ahead of his time. He recognized how much women contributed to science and technology. He talked about inventions like the jacquard loom, the printing press, even the cotton gin, all invented or improved by women.
It just shows that innovation can come from anyone, anywhere. It doesn't matter your gender or background. And it's another example of Conwell pushing back against limits, the limits that people put on themselves and others.
Now, one thing that's amazing about Conwell is how hard he worked. This guy was a machine. He was always preaching, lecturing, writing, building institutions.
I know, it's mind-blowing. How did he have time for it all? He must have been incredible at managing his time.
He was. He had a really strict routine. He knew how to prioritize. He made sure he had time and energy for the things that were most important to him. But he wasn't all work and no play either. He liked to go blackberry picking, fishing. He saw those things as a chance to reflect and plan.
So he was always working, even when he was relaxing. He made every moment count.
And he had this really interesting view of success. He didn't think it was about luck. He said it was about being on the job, ready to jump on opportunities when they popped up. He used to say, things keep turning my way because I'm on the job. It shows how much he believed in being prepared and taking action.
He wasn't waiting around for things to happen. He was out there making them happen. And he did it all to help others. Now, one of Conwell's less-known achievements was
his work with the Samaritan Hospital in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, he was really big on making sure everyone had access to health care.
Wasn't he? He was. Conwell believed that health care was a right, not a privilege. And he didn't just talk about it. He actually founded the Samaritan Hospital.
Wow.
Which provided free or low-cost care to people who couldn't afford it.
It's incredible how he did it all. Preacher, lecturer, university president, and now hospital founder. The guy never stopped.
He was a true Renaissance man, driven to make a difference, and he was really good at getting other people excited about his projects, too.
Yeah, he seemed to have this knack for bringing people together to work toward a common goal.
Exactly. Whether it was raising money for Temple, or building a new church, or starting a hospital, Conwell had this energy that was contagious. People wanted to be a part of it.
And he cared about the details, too.
Yeah.
I remember reading that he insisted on having long visiting hours at the Samaritan Hospital.
Really?
So that working people could see their loved ones after they got off work.
That's a great example of how Conwell understood the challenges everyday people faced. He wasn't just a big picture guy. He really wanted to make a tangible difference in people's lives.
And he had a sense of humor about it, too. Like that story about how he didn't mind his church raising his salary because the churches that paid the most always raised it the easiest.
He definitely knew how to find the humor in things, and I think that playfulness combined with his sincerity really connected with people.
So I think it's safe to say that Russell H. Conwell was more than just a lecturer. He was a visionary, a builder, a champion for the everyday person.
He saw those acres of diamonds not just in money, but in the potential that's inside all of us.
And his message is still relevant today because we all want to find our own acres of diamonds. We want to use our talents to make a difference, to leave the world a little bit better than we found it.
So what about you listening right now? What are your acres of diamonds? What skills or knowledge or passions are you overlooking? What could you turn into something truly amazing?
Conwell believed that opportunities are everywhere,
Yeah.
if we're willing to see them. He challenged people to find their demand, to meet a need, start small, and keep going. And he showed us, through his own life and work, that success isn't just about getting ahead. It's about using what you have to help others.
He'd probably leave us with this. Don't underestimate yourself. Don't wait for opportunity to come knocking, go out and make it happen. And remember, the most variable diamonds might be right under your nose, just waiting for you to discover them.
If you enjoyed this deep dive into Acres of Diamonds, we encourage you to check out the full text. It's a really inspiring read, and you never know, it might just help you find your own acres of diamonds. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep digging for those hidden gems of opportunity.